The Road to Muni is here. We're officially in the round of 16 inside Municipal Auditorium, historical Municipal Auditorium. Coach, one of the best tournaments of the year, and I know even with 16 teams here, it's still a lot of fun.
Absolutely. No, what a great culmination of a ton of work this season. Can't believe we're here. It feels like yesterday we were doing the preseason show before the year even tipped off, and it goes by fast. But you're down to the final 16, and I'm sure all of them are chomping at the bit for tip off over the next couple days.
Yeah, and it's you talk about just not only the great teams that have come through here in the past, but even some of the top players. We got the G League guys and Miles Burns and Kyle Mangus. We got your guy Riley Minix that's now playing in the NCAA tournament. But even more recent, those are all the recent guys. But a lot of great players, a lot of great teams have graced the gym here in Municipal Auditorium.
Yeah, the history there is unbelievable, right? I mean, it just goes back so many years, and there's a lot of coaches, a lot of players that have gone through that building, and there's been a lot of high moments and a lot of tears in locker rooms afterwards too. And I'm sure this weekend will be no different.
Yeah, like you always try to remind everybody, only one team's gonna be happy at the end of the year because they're the only ones that be holding up that red band.
That's right. We're gonna have 15 disappointed crews and one pretty thrilled one come next week. But no, it's a huge accomplishment for programs to even get to Kansas City. I mean that is really testament to a lot of hard work that goes into it, and everybody that's there has really earned their way there, and it should be just a phenomenal few days of basketball.
Yeah, not the obviously everybody wants to be national champion, but if you made it this far, it's still a heck of a year and a lot to hang your hat on. And as we're taping Wednesday night, but as this airs, we're gonna have four really good games today, and then four really good games on Friday, and I can't wait for the action, Coach.
Yeah, no, me either. I got. I'm going to be flipping back and forth. I'm not with you in Kansas City, so I'm going to have the big screen going and with some of the NCAA games, but the games I care equally, if not more, about are these NAIA games. It's unbelievable
Yeah,
what's going to happen there.
gonna be a
So,
lot of fun. Well, we've got a good lineup for everybody today. We're gonna start off with tournament director Austin Bennett, and then we're gonna have four coaches from each of the quadrants. So we'll go ahead and get going here. NEI Director Championships, Austin Bennett, with us today, and bear with us as we're sitting close here. We didn't have a power source, so we're sharing a laptop lens, not a camera lens, but Austin and I have gotten close over the years, so we're okay with this. But Austin, welcome to the Road to Muni podcast. I know that Kansas City is a great host. I've been here for I think going on a decade now, and I know you guys run a top-notch tournament here.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We're so excited for the 86th edition of the NAIA National Basketball Championship here in Kansas City, and so excited for you guys and to do more in this partnership as we've kind of teased and now it's here. We get to release what we've teased now for a month or two. So really excited to have you guys and excited for the tournament to kick off.
Yeah, and maybe talk about what it goes through. I know every tournament probably for every sport's a little bit different, but for the men's championship, maybe lay it out for the people listening and what goes into it. We only have an hour and a half show, so I know you can't go into too much detail because it would take forever. But sum it up from your point of view on what it takes to run this thing.
Yeah, I'd bore you to death too if I went through it all in depth. But no, so this is the only national championship that we host from out of the national office, and so. For us, we not only serve on the sports side, the sport manager, the championship side, but also as the host. And so we deal with everything from contracting with municipal to working with the city to getting the hotels. And then we run it on the back end, just like, what the folks in Sioux City do for us up there. And so we have a great intern program that we've had going here for a while now, which we bring college age interns in looking to get into sport management. So that really helps. And then just a little bit more work from us than what we normally do, but with a venue like this and with a championship like the men's basketball championship, it's an easy one to get excited for, an easy one to work extra hard for.
Well, and I know that as we're going to have coaches come through here, I know that some of them are with their sponsors eating dinner. I think that's just part of the unique experience of the tournament is that you guys partner with local businesses around the area who kind of adopt the team for the week, and they can sit on the bench with them and take them out to dinner and things like that. And it's really cool, and I think it just adds to the for the players, the experience in general.
It does. Our honorary coach program is very beneficial in a lot of ways, financially, obviously, to the tournament through the money that we make from our sponsors. But then also they are continuation of us and welcoming these teams to Kansas City, almost the front line for us, and showing these teams around, being, kind of at their beckoning call, taking them to dinner, being out of practice with them, things like that. Any and all things Kansas City. And it's great because we have an honorary coach that's been part of this for 53 years. And then all the way down, we have multiple decade-long honorary coaches that are with us, and that just adds an extra element to it. And I know our teams love it, having them be a part of it and things like that. So it's good all around for us.
Is there? I got to imagine there's some jockeying too, like people, certain teams, want to. Hey, I had this host last year and they were awesome. Can I have them again? Or even probably from the host side too, right? They said we had XYZ team and we want to have those guys again. They were great, right?
Yeah, no doubt. So we had our honorary coach draft on Sunday after we knew the team Saturday night. And yeah, there's long-standing ones that they've always had the same team or tried to get the same team when they're here in Kansas City. There's multiple trades, both from the draft order, but then also after teams are selected. So
this is basically like this is a fantasy draft for all you listening out there. Like this turns into like a major league fantasy draft. This is outstanding.
You've got sporting event tickets going back and forth. You got rounds of golf switching hands. So it's very serious. And if there's a team somebody wants, there's not much expense they'll spare in order to try and get.
That is hilarious.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, outside of all the fun that happens outside this week, there is a lot of great basketball being played too. And I know you've seen a lot of great basketball inside Muni as well. What do you look forward to most in these games?
I look forward to just the celebration of kind of the culmination of the season, as you guys have already touched on. Just making it here in itself, especially in the new format where you have to have those first and second round games. Sometimes you're hosting them. Sometimes you're going on the road and playing somebody else's venue. Just to get here and be one of 16 of 225 basketball institutions in the NAIA is exciting and a job well done on a season. I enjoy just kind of the chaos that ensues, honestly. I think obviously Municipal is a bigger arena than our schools will play in. And so to kind of see which school settles in first or in a certain game is really exciting for me. And then just for me and all our championships, I get so much gratification at the end of an event when we hand out that trophy, when a dream is realized. I know there's 16 teams here and only one will get that opportunity, but all the long days leading up to it, all the long days during the tournament, to me, that makes it all worth it when you see that they've reached the pinnacle in their sport and winning a national title.
Yeah. And you all have done such an amazing job of merging the two divisions and forming this tournament and just year over year finding ways to make it a better experience for the student athletes. I mean, the NAIA has done just an incredible job, and much to your credit, as much as your team, I'm sure. All the work and hours that go into putting on just a tremendous experience for the student athletes that really benefits the local community as well, and puts on display the phenomenal product that NAIA men's basketball is.
Yeah, and I appreciate that for those kind words, and we do take a lot of pride in it. And I'll also say I've been very excited about, since we've combined divisions. The split has been pretty equal when you look at the former D1s versus the former D2s. Like last year, we had D2 versus D2, former D2 versus D2 for a national title. So it's been really cool to see our schools kind of take the next step from that D2 perspective, as far as whether it's scholarshiping or resources to the program, whatever it took to stay a high-level basketball program. Because I know across the country in the NAIA, that was some of the worry is, what's it going to look like for us? Are we going to be able to compete? And I think over the course of the last 3-4 years, we've seen that absolutely that's happened.
No doubt.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and Austin, we appreciate you coming on. It's always good to hear from people directly involved with the tournament. I know that this is hopefully a partnership that continues to grow, and I know we have some other things that we've kind of teased out for next year that we're working on. We're excited about as well, but we appreciate you guys letting us kind of run with our show and hopefully add to the experience that you guys already provide such a great one. But hopefully we can be a small piece to the puzzle and moving forward as well. So
nope, you guys are big time for us as far as promotional, and I know our schools and coaches appreciate it. We're just glad to have this partnership that's started, and I can't wait to see how it blossoms moving forward. So thank you for all you guys do.
That is Austin Bennett, the NAIA Director of Championships. Jumping in to the round of 16 here is first starting with the Naismith quadrant, Coach. We are. I know we talked about it a little bit on the recap show, but this is the Naismith bracket. Is going to be a lot of fun. You have Grace and Northwestern out of Iowa, and then Lois Clark Evangelist. So you have a 1-5 matchup, and then you have the 11-15 matchup on the other side. Both of these games are going to be on Thursday. One's at 5 and one's at 7 p.m. So later on today. Just a quick rundown, Coach. You know, Grace is the highest scoring offense at 90.9 points per game. And then you turn around, you have Northwestern, who's the fourth lowest scoring offense at 81.8 points per game. And you have two teams that are pretty good in the net efficiency. And then, I know you and I are very, very excited of maybe the best matchup in the entire, definitely maybe in the opening round, but definitely maybe entire tournament here with Elijah Malone and Alex Van Kelsbeek.
Yeah, yeah, two really storied quality programs led by great coaches and full of great players on both sides. So not to just highlight one player on each side because it's definitely going to be a team effort.
Yeah.
Both these teams have several weapons and can get you a lot of different ways. But yeah, the highlight matchup from my eyes is the Van Kalsbeek and Malone matchup. Both just tremendous players that can really change the narrative of a game on their own with the way that they play and command. They just have such a commanding presence and require so much attention from the other side. But again, they're both part of bigger systems, right? Those are both quality teams, top to bottom. So that should just be a tremendous matchup in my eyes.
Well, and sometimes it works out where these two just kind of, play their game and cancel each other out. And then it comes down to,
Yeah, right. Everybody else.
yeah, yeah, and that's kind of the way these tend to shape up. And one of the great equalizers has always been the 3-point line. And inside Muni, we've talked a little bit about this. Is teams, especially in those first couple, especially the first game here in Municipal, tend to struggle from the 3-point line. And Grace isn't a team that shoots a lot of threes, so I think they're kind of built for this type of environment. But then you got a Northwestern team, that second best 3-point team left in the field behind their own GPAC foe Morningside, and this is a Northwestern team that. If they can figure out how to shoot the ball well, they can definitely keep themselves in this game and maybe pull off an upset.
Yeah, and part of how they get those threes right is playing through Van Kalsbeek. I mean, he's not necessarily stepping out beyond the 3-point line. They're gonna inside out with him and kick out the shooters. And Grace may have an opportunity to just play straight up, right, on the block with Malone and see what happens. But foul trouble is something else in this game you really want to look for. I mean, if one of those two bigs gets in foul trouble on either side, that can certainly change the narrative a little bit of what's happening. So. I think it's going to be a game around the rim. It's going to be a game at the free throw line and a game of discipline and limiting turnovers, which should be just some really high quality stuff here from those two teams.
Yeah, and it'll be a theme throughout this entire preview that it's toughness wins, and you got to be tough, especially in this playoff environment. There's not a lot of calls around the rim and around the paint. So if you're gonna go finish around the rim, you better finish tough. And at the same point, if you're gonna go get a rebound, you better be ready to go get it above the rim because
you better go get it, right?
Yeah,
so.
nothing's coming to you. So
yeah.
But moving on to the 11-15 matchup, two quote unquote Cinderellas, I think you can say. But we're gonna have Austin Johnson, the head coach of Lewis Clark, on here in a little bit. But great coach, and what he's been able to do year in, year out, just a lot of fun to watch. They're a team that averages 82 points per game. They've been in the top 25 in net efficiency this year, even though they're the fifth best team in the tournament. I think it's an interesting stat point for this entire tournament. The top four teams in the net efficiency ratings are all in the round of 16, and then I believe there's 9 of the top 25 teams with net efficiency all made it to the round of 16. So something to kind of watch out on that one. They're led by newcomer of the year, Jaden Bradley. I know, they got a lot of pieces around him as well, and especially. They got a couple kids that have been playing really good down the stretch, and I think that's why they made this nice run here. A team that finished second place in the Cascade behind the defending national champs. So, I think this is a team that, like we always say, seeds, you can throw those out the window at this point. But even as they're turning around and facing 15 seeded Evangel, first 15 seed to ever reach Muni, which is a really cool story. But we've talked about this is a team that has now had 3 years in a row made the national tournament, and they've won games in the national tournament. So this is a team that isn't new to winning in March, and All-American Josh Pritchett's just been special, and 2,000 point score in his career, and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it should be a really intriguing matchup. Again, I think we've talked about this, the seeding. I think the right teams get in the tournament and everything else. The seeding is always going to be up for discussion, and so you're dealing with a couple teams here that I think belong. I mean, Evangel, they've been in this thing, they've knocked on the door a few times, and now for them to crack through with a seasoned group, they can really, if they get going, and they can really shoot it, right, if they get going. And saw I think in the Florida Memorial game, right, really efficient team there. And and then Lewis Clark State, I mean, it's not a surprise. There's a lot of usual suspects running around Municipal Auditorium that are on the in the coaching box there. So not a surprise there for him either.
Yeah, and obviously outside of Coach Korver at Northwestern, I think that another thing that's really fun to watch around the NAIA is the youth movement in the coaching world, and we're seeing this a lot in this field too. Just the young coaches that make up the coaching depth at the NAIA level right now.
Yeah. I won't tell Coach Korver you just called him old, but he's he'll be okay with that. He's hey man, he's a wily veteran. That cat's been doing it a long time and doing it at a really, really high level. So what a great guy too, and just
I think
awesome program. So
I think currently 1 or 2 in the active coaches winning this.
Yeah.
So he's been around for a while. Knows how to win a lot of ball games, and
absolutely.
I think this Naismith quadrant is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And
I agree.
A lot of coaches that have a lot, not just a lot of wins, but a lot of important wins as well.
Yep. Yeah. No, for sure. So I think it's going to be a really fun game as well, just like the other one.
Yep. Well, we welcoming Lewis Clark State head coach Austin Johnson to the Road to Immunity podcast. For those that don't know, Austin and I actually go way back. We never actually crossed paths before, but we share a boss in common, and JUCO Hall of Famer Dennis Helms. And Coach Helms, I'll never forget it. When I took the job in Odessa, he told me straight up, he's like, I got a former assistant named Austin I want you to connect with. And he's like, I think it would be best for both of you two. And it's a connection that I've always enjoyed, and it's good to finally have you on.
Yeah, it's been a while trying to get on the NAIAHoops Report podcast and feel like a celebrity talking to you. So I appreciate all you guys do for our level of basketball, which is severely underrated. And it's just awesome publicity, not just for the programs, but the coaches and the players' families. And I just think it gives such a huge platform. The last few years growing and growing, which is really awesome to see.
I kept asking Junior all year to have you on, but he was stiff arming the idea. I really don't know why. I think you're tremendous. So I don't know what his problem is, but I mean, I
will say this: we did try to have him on a few times, and I did feel bad because the time difference is a little bit. And every time we tried to have him on, it was our morning show, and he didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. I think to hop on with us, which I don't blame him for. So.
All right. It sounds like excuses all around. We're good. So.
Speaking of experience here, we got this is a place that well. You've had great success, and now you're back with a new team, but a team that I think you've described very well online as just pure tough.
Yep. No, I think obviously all 16 teams here are pretty tough, but when you look at us on paper and probably how the season started, this was not probably the end destination that most would have probably pegged us for. But yeah, it's a tough group that they've rode the wave of adversity, and they've allowed it to kind of bring them closer together. And they definitely have a quiet confidence. Even winning Friday against Hope International, obviously any win in the national tournament is a big deal, but they didn't, they're proud they won. They felt good they won, but they knew that, hey, we want to go get Montana Tech the next night. They weren't just, thinking that was the end of the line. And so there's a toughness, there's a quiet confidence, and obviously there's a great respect too for their opponents. And it's just been cool to see this group kind of just mesh together and come along and keep swinging even when it doesn't always look like it's going to go our way.
Well, and I think early on, you guys were still trying to figure out what you had in Jaden Bradley, and then you have some youngsters that obviously with Alden has really stepped up down the stretch here as the Cascade Freshman of the Year, and then David Brown, a transfer from Masters, who's actually here as well this week. But I feel like you guys, that you do have that quiet little swagger to you guys, but you guys also had some guys that are new to the program that were just kind of finding their way, and now that they've kind of found their way, it's made you guys a really good team here.
Yeah, to start the season, Jaden Bradley, the first 6 games, our non-conference schedule was not, he's trying to figure out what he does best, and we had some heart-to-hearts, and he bought in. And again, not that he wasn't bought in before, but just, hey, just do these 3 things, do them well, and we'll be successful. And he's done that, and he's gotten a lot. He's embraced that, which is hard for a 1 year guy to do. And then, yeah, at the beginning of the year, we returned our starting center from last year, and when he went down, Al stepped up in a major way. And you talk about a quiet, confident guy, like that's him. And then Davian has taken a huge step, and so it's been really cool to see. Yeah, whether it's new guys or some guys in different roles, just kind of how they've all stepped up, they've all bought in, and like any great team, they care about each other a ton, and they don't really care who gets the credit. JB can go score. He can score a little bit, but we've won games where he scored 1 point, and so I think that's again kind of a hallmark of this team too.
You guys are really, from my perspective, really finding your stride at the right time of year, right? I mean, one little hiccup there coming down the stretch, but I mean, generally, I think you 8 out of your last 9 you won, and got some good momentum going there. And so, what clicked, or what did you notice from your seat as you were moving through that?
I think again, we had a couple injuries. We had one guy quit right at the end of that non-conference time. We were 2-4, and so. I'd love to sit here and tell you it was great coaching, but a lot of it was just, the guys knew they had to step up. We really had 8 or 9 guys. When you only have 8 or 9 guys, they're all going to be locked into the scout. They all know they're going to play, which helps. I think just understanding some defensive stuff that we want to do, and then obviously offense. I mean, I think JB starting to be more efficient. When you have a 4 who can shoot it and drive a little bit. Once he kind of got his footing, that kind of changed how we played, and we played a lot better. And I think, one thing I've said too is ever since December 1st, we've basically been playing do or die games. I mean, that's what I've told our team. And so you start 2-4 in non-league. We only get 6 non-conference games. Our conference doesn't, I think our conference, like every coach, I think our conference is underrated. I think there's some metrics that don't play in our favor. And so, we've been do or die since December 1st, and this team, more so than any other team I've had, has taken that to heart, and they haven't let that make them panicky or tense. They've just kind of lived on that razor wire of knowing that they got a small margin for error. And so I'd say more so than anything else, just that it's a very mature team, and even young guys like Al Hamilton. I mean, Al Hamilton might as well be a 10-year vet. I mean, he's just a very mature group of guys.
I'm gonna make one other schedule shout out for people that are listening out there. I was talking about recruiting and kids thinking about schools. These guys went up against a couple no-name schools in Arizona and Gonzaga at the beginning of the year. So if you're your kids, families out there thinking, what's NAIA? Well, yeah, why don't you go ahead and give these guys a shout? I mean, they're playing some of the best, and they're playing a phenomenal league, and have done a great job getting to this point in the season. So just a shout out from an experience standpoint. I'm sure your kids have really embraced and enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, I think too. I mean, to echo on that, we told our guys too when they went up to cut down the nets at Montana Tech. There's not one guy who went up to cut down the nets who, was upset about their playing time or thought that coach made him run too hard in August. I mean, it was all worth it. And I think all these coaches here too, like the experience these players are having, I mean, it's going to be better than honestly probably 80 to 90% of college athletes in terms of basketball. It's all levels. And so I think the experience that NAIA gives our players, and especially when you have a chance to win and get to KC, like it's legendary stuff. And so I think our level does a really good job of giving our guys the best experience possible.
Well, and I know that you're talking about experience, and as from a coaching standpoint, I know your guys. I think maybe Sam may be the only one with some experience playing. Sam Stockton, who you guys may have heard of his dad, but his dad John. But Sam's got some tournament experience for you, but you as a coach have got great experience and won a lot of games inside this building. So I know that will play here moving forward as well.
Hope so.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I know that I'm glad we could have a nice session for you, so we could actually have you on. But I'm looking forward to watching you guys play this week.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate it, man.
Good luck, Coach.
The last 2 games, or actually the first 2 games that are going to be played on Thursday, which I think are 2 phenomenal matchups here. Starting off with Freed and the Masters. Coach, this is a matchup we've talked about. This is a Masters team that can really shoot the ball, and you got a Freed team that guards the 3-point line, guards well anyway, but guards the 3-point line particularly well tomorrow. And these are the fun games where maybe contrasting styles a little bit, even though you see that there's I think that's actually supposed to be 82.6 points per game, but or 76.2 points per game. But you're going to see two teams that play a little bit different styles of play, and whoever can control that tempo maybe the winner tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, again, we've talked about it historically. It's not a great shooting gym for teams in the round of 16, but I don't know. Masters can really stroke it, so I feel like they can find a way to throw it in just about anywhere you put them. So Freed's defense is going to be put to the test, maybe stretched a little bit further than they are on some nights, right? Closing out, and sometimes that opens up driving lanes and things at the rim that Masters might not normally get. But
Yeah.
and then on the other side, there's always the game of you got to guard us too, right? And so the Freed's got a lot of balance. They got a lot of depth in scoring. It can be different guys on different nights, like Coach was talking about. So, it should be a very fun game. I think it's a really unique matchup in the round here,
Yeah,
and excited to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I think it's just one of those matchups that especially as a mid-afternoon game, like see you kind of see if who can maybe wake up a little bit early and find their legs early enough, because that's the big part. I've heard that the Masters after flying out to Florida flew right into Kansas City, didn't even go back to California, and I think that's a smart move for them. To just be able to come here and get, not have to fly all the way from California to Florida, California, and then California back to Kansas City. They bypass that. So we'll see if that plays into their hands or not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll find out after the game if the coach thinks that's a good idea or bad idea. You don't know sometimes. I mean, that's the hard thing too, right? When you're coaching these environments, it's like you're doing the best you can. You're making the best decisions you can for your kids and trying to put them in a spot to be their best. I mean, so they got the Sea Legs Award for sure. They're putting the most miles on out of anybody.
Yeah. Us inside Municipal Auditorium is Freed Hardeman, head coach Drew Stuss. I know, Coach, we had you on a couple years ago, and I know it's been really fun watching you grow this program. I know I think we had you on year one, and you were still kind of developing it, and we were talking about how tough of a schedule you made it because you wanted your guys to be battle tested. And I feel like from those early moments, you guys were kind of preparing your guys' team for what's going to happen here in the round of 16.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I've always thought you got to play the best teams to get your program to where we want to get it to, and that's one that can compete with a lot of teams and anybody. So, we've done that year after year, and sometimes, instead of being a 25-win team, maybe we were a 19 or 20-win team. But I think over the course of time, if you're building it the way that we built it here with a lot of 4- and 5-year guys, it pays off in the long.
Well, and I know he's been injured a little bit, but you have an All-American that I think was even a second-team Mid-South player, and Riley McLaren, and then you've got a unique experience with it. I think two of your top 3 scorers come off the bench for you guys. You want to talk about your guys and just kind of what how the buy-in factor is when you have guys like that. Obviously Quan's having quite a year, but behind him you got so many good depth pieces as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we talk about. I think 9 out of our 10 guys that are in the rotation have led us in scoring at some point during the year. And, really that just kind of speaks to our style of play. I know there's a lot of really good teams here, and we may not be one of the most individually talented teams, but we have a lot of guys that can play. I know there's teams that are going to have those first team, All-American players. I don't know if we've got one of those guys, but I know we got a lot of guys that can play and really are unselfish and, like they talked about earlier today when we all met with Earl Watson, we're a team that's unselfish and enjoys playing the game together. We're not so much concerned about who's getting the credit. And, last game it happened to be Geraldo Lane at 26 points. The game before that, another guy. And so, we just kind of let the ball make the right play for us, and whatever happens, happens.
Well, and I know Coach probably has some stuff for it too, but I just want to jump in. And I think that, as good as Langston has been defensively, you guys are the number 1 defensive efficiency team in the country. And I think that's kind of what, when you don't have that maybe number 1 All-American or first team All-American, that's where you can win ball games, and that's where you have won ball games.
Yeah, I mean, we're in my opinion, we're really balanced. We've got a really efficient offense, but we're also really efficient defensively. We got a lot of guys, all 10 guys. We switch everything in our defense, and so we got 10 guys that we're super confident in and being able to guard anybody, basically any matchup on the floor. And, it's a different style, but, you got to have those versatile guys, so we got a lot of guys that are 6'4", 6'7", 6'8" on the floor at the same time. And, it's worked out well for us this year.
Yeah, I'm curious too, Coach, and I've been watching fan of yours. You guys came down, played our place a few years back, and that was fun to go against you. And just you could tell even back then you're really going to get it going. And hats off for building such a quality program and representing your school really well. So it's fun to see your success. And talk a little bit about just kind of the matchup and the experience, I guess, of being to Kansas City, right? Because you got some distractions, you got things going on, you got all these different dinners to go to and stuff, and travel plans, and talk to people a little bit about that and balancing it with, hey, we still got to lock in and play the most important game of the year, which is which is coming up, right?
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Something that's been going through my mind for the last couple of days. We met last night and watched some film, and I think for us this year, having been here last year, I think it pays huge dividends in just the experience of having been here and gone through this experience before. Last year was my first time being here, all of our players' first time. So I think the fact that you're doing it again instead of,
Yeah.
being here for the first time, I think really, there's just a level of comfort being back in a situation that you've been in before. And just like Junior was talking about, this is my 5th year. So, we made the national tournament 3 years ago and got put out in the first round. Then last year made it here and got put out. And so every year we're just hoping to take another step. And I think our guys are, they feel like they belong here. Where when it's your first time, you want to act like you belong here, but do you really belong
Yeah, you
here?
got a little imposter syndrome going on, right?
That's
Like,
right.
do we
That's
really
right.
belong here? But we do. Yeah, we made it again, so I guess we do. So
So I
yeah,
think the experience from last year will just give us a lot of comfort. And the Masters, the team we played more is, super talented. I mean, offensively, big time explosive team, can score it from a number of positions and a number of ways. They got one player who'll probably be one of those first team All American type guys who can really score the ball and is a really good player. So we're going to have our hands full tomorrow. But I just hope we play our best.
yeah,
No offense to last year's loss. Grace beat us last year. But I just didn't feel like we played well. And they did. They played well and they were comfortable. And so I just hope we're able to play well. And whatever happens at that point will happen.
yeah. That experience does play in for sure, right? You're not in a foreign land anymore. It's the
Sure.
gym's familiar, the travel's familiar, the rhythm is familiar, and I think that
Helps
really
out.
can play.
Yeah, I think it helps out a lot too, and maybe you can attest to this, but like sometimes when you get here, you get hit in the mouth early, and sometimes when you're not don't have that experience or you don't know how to handle it, or if your first because it's easy not to shoot the ball well here, and if you don't hit your first couple shots, it's easy for a player to get down, and I think once you've been here and experienced that, now you know how to kind of adjust and make that game plan, change that game plan up to benefit yourself.
No, I agree with that fully, and that's one good thing about being in a league that we're in. Playing Cumberland's, playing Georgetown, even both of our first 2-round matchups were really good teams, and so we've been battle tested and we've been hit in the mouth a couple times, and I feel like we've chose to respond in the right way with resiliency, and love the fight of our team. Point Park was a great team that we played there, in the round of 32, and they shot the ball well, but we just continue to do what we do, and things worked out. So however things go tomorrow, I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you've been a fun program to watch and develop over the last few years since you've taken over. And obviously, we wish you the best of luck and we appreciate you coming on the show today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And listen, you guys, I know everybody says this, but for us, what you guys do is big time. All our guys, our parents, different people, administrators, people, I mean, they are keeping up with what you guys do. And so for you guys to put in the time that you do, it's not just lip service. It's something we really do appreciate. So thank you guys for what you do this year.
Appreciate that.
Congrats, Coach. Good luck.
I appreciate it, Coach.
I was on at anybody.
Yeah. And then that second matchup of the afternoon, here is going to be of the Kramer bracket here is Oklahoma Wesleyan versus Central Baptist. Another fun matchup just because they play pretty similar. I mean, you got two low-scoring teams that. I say low-scoring teams, Coach. It's kind of funny because of the 16 teams here, the lowest-scoring team is 79 points per game. So a little bit different style of basketball, even though that I think that some of these teams are pretty good defensively. especially these two teams. They're both in the top half of the tournament here of defensive metrics. You got a talented Oakwood team with Jaden Leisky and DJ Talton Jr. And then you got a Central Baptist team who, like I said, the AMC Player of the Year, Deshaun Corporu, who, again, I think in 2019 was playing for an NCAA Final Four with Texas Tech. So you got a talented group or talented players on both sides, and very much two teams that play similar styles. So it's gonna be an interesting game.
Yeah, no doubt. And Central Baptist looking at their path to get here, right? Wesleyan, I'll say took care of business, right? They had two pretty cush wins in terms of they found a good margin and found their way through comfortably. And Central Baptist double overtime the first round and really tight game in the second round. So they're coming in, with different experiences, I would say, from from those first two rounds to get to this point. So if it turns into a tight game, that'll be an interesting thing to watch. If it's a close, low-scoring game, that might end up working out for Central Baptist a little bit more. But two great teams, two good programs, good coaches, and it's going to be a really fun one to watch.
Moving into the Kramer bracket here. I think that's actually supposed to be a doer, isn't it?
Doer, yeah.
So this is a doer bracket. I forgot to change that one, but we have. Hold on a second. I'll adjust this. Let me go back. Moving into the doer bracket here, we got a fun matchup that we've actually, I know you had on our Coach's Corner session early in the year when this was actually number 2 versus number 4 in the country. And I emphasize that 4 because this is a Shreveport team that, don't let their seeding fool you either. I know we've said throughout the seeding when it gets this time of year anyway, but this is a team that was a top 5 team in the country at one point in the year. And, didn't really finish the year how they wanted to, and then all of a sudden the tournament hit, and they found themselves again. And dangerous group here as Calvin Carpenter has been very, very good, and they've got a couple Division I transfers on that team that really good. And then got Langston who's got their own fair share of Division I transfers, and led by the SAC Player of the Year and a National Player of the Year candidate in Anthony Roy.
Yep. Yeah, and he's somebody else we highlighted, right, when we were talking about that game as a really important piece. And seasons ebb and flow. We talked about that throughout the year. And sometimes, for whatever the reason, you get a little clunky there at some point. You lose your edge and you find it back. And who knows, Shreveport might have found it back at the right time. We might be seeing that 1-4 matchup again, like we were talking about earlier in the year. And that Langston defense is a problem, right? Like they are really good. Great coach, obviously, again, somebody who's very experienced in this tournament. It's no surprise that he's got another group back here and ready to make a run. And so this will be a very intriguing matchup, I think, as well, as we look at the overall bracket here in the doer bracket.
Yeah, 1-point game and an overtime game, I believe, before. So definitely going to be an interesting matchup. And then finish
joining us on the Road to Muni podcast. Inside of Municipal Auditorium is Coach Chris Ryan, a friend of the program. And Coach, I know, talking a little bit to you offline, I think you mentioned it, and it's always a unique question, but you prefer playing on day 2, and you guys get to play on Friday. Now you guys get to sit around and watch games tomorrow. And I know you've been here before, but you want to talk about maybe the experience of playing here before and then why you like playing on day 2?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love it just because it's an extra day to kind of get your team acclimated. They're able to come in here and just kind of get a feel for the environment, just because it is such a different surrounding. Just being in the NAIA, you don't get to play in a whole lot of arenas throughout the course of a season. And so, yeah, playing on day 2 definitely is my preference for sure.
Yeah, and then your experience of playing here, I know. 2 different teams, obviously took Talladega to a championship game and lost a very talented Loyola team. And then last year, did special things with Langston. You've been doing special things with Langston since you took the job there. And unfortunately, got matched up with a tough Georgetown team and lost. But you got a team this year that seems primed and ready to make another deep run here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know how difficult it is to come here and win games, but I feel like we're deeper than we were last year. We're a little bit bigger across the board. And I just feel like we're a more complete basketball team than we were last year at this time.
Yeah, and I know that Anthony Roy gets a lot of talk, and we'll talk a little bit about him. But I think that Toro Dean, one of the best guards in the country. I know you'll probably say the best point guard in the country. Most coaches love their point guards. They'll say that. But I think Cortez Mosley is really, he's always been a good defender, but I think offensively he's really picked up his game down the stretch here. And I think that's helped you guys, because sometimes you guys have an issue like many good defensive teams scoring the basketball. I think him being able to kind of match Roy, some of those 15, 20-point games has really helped you guys out a lot.
Yeah, I think Tez has been great for us this year. Actually in the preseason he was our best overall player, and he suffered a hamstring injury, and so he missed the first few games of the season and just really wasn't himself until probably literally until we got to January. And so yeah, the production that he's had offensively, I think, definitely adds a different dimension to us and makes us a lot more dangerous on the offensive end.
What from the first time you had this matchup, I think last time we talked to you was right about then. What were some takeaways from the first matchup to what you're going to have now? Don't give away the trade secrets. I'm not asking for that. I know you're going to be real. You're not going to tell me much, whatever. But just what are some takeaways you have? I mean, it's such a unique thing, right? Playing somebody again like this that you played a while ago.
Coach, I definitely probably was getting a little bit more sleep earlier in the season and had a few less gray hairs, man. But
I don't even have hair, buddy, so I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I'll take half of yours if you want to give it to me, so Coach, gray or not, I'll take it.
Hey, I'm quickly on that road, man. So first time we played Shreveport, I believe we were number 2 in the country. They were number 4. And it really was a rock fight. Both teams shot under 35% from the field. I think ended up going 3 for 22 from 3, and I felt like there was a lid on the rim. And then late Shreveport had a chance to, really outplayed us for a lot of the game and missed a few free throws down the stretch that I kind of thought was the difference in the game. And so, one, it would help to make a few more shots, which, if you look at our numbers, we averaged about 84 points a game. And so, I'm going to knock on wood and hope that we don't shoot the ball that poorly again. But I really feel that Shreveport's, looking at possible matchups coming into the tournament. I mean, they're as athletic as anyone. They're as talented as anyone. And it's really kind of scary to see what they did last weekend up in Kansas. And you look at their program, Coach Blankenship's, 20 straight years LSUS has been in the national tournament. And obviously he took over and has continued that streak. And, when you think of NAIA basketball, LSU Shreveport's one of the first programs that you think of. And so, man, we know that we have our work cut out for us.
Yeah, and Coach has also had the full week. They're only worried about the men's side. As he was a unique story for those that don't know, he coached the men and women, not to coach, but to Coach Blank at LSU Shreveport coached both the men's and women's programs, and went all the way. They were a couple of seconds away from having both teams in the national tournament or in the round of 16 as well. But such a great matchup. But the last time around, I know you said they missed some free throws. They are actually a funny stat, or a fun stat, I should say, is that they've actually shot 80 more free throws than anybody else in the field. So a team that gets to a free throw line a lot, and that inside Municipal can play. And at least the good thing I will say about that previous game is that sounds and looked a lot like a Municipal auditorium game.
For sure.
With the shooting percentages and the free throws and all that. So at least you got that out of the way. And even if that is the outcome, you guys have already played in that rock fight. So
yeah, and for us, I get asked a lot, like with the talent that we have, why do I not allow our guys to play faster? We push off turnovers, but we typically like to grind games out. And I just think that over the years, right, really looking at who wins here, it's teams that can really defend, because you're going to have a bad shooting night or two, here in Municipal. So we hope that's not night one for us. It'd be great if we could shoot it well all 4 nights, but yeah. So I really feel like our team's built for this time of the year, and I think the toughest team's going to win on Friday.
Yeah, and it helps having one of the best closers in the game, and Anthony Roy, a guy that can go get you a bucket when you need one, and obviously you have a big time year, and we'll see where he finishes in the Player of the Year standings, but if not 1, he's definitely 2. So.
I'm really proud of him. He makes the game look really effortless at times, and when he is really playing hard and his motor is going, he's rebounds at a high level and can do a lot of things besides just score the basketball. And I think that's been our biggest challenge with him this year, is to getting him to realize there's a lot of different ways to affect winning besides scoring points. And so he's really matured as the years went on. And but yeah, he makes me look like a lot better coach than I am on a lot of nights for sure.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on the Road to Muni podcast. We are officially inside of Municipal Auditorium, and looking forward to watching you guys play on Friday.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Good luck, Coach.
With
Congrats.
NAIA and Arizona Christian. I think points we scored in this one, Coach. I mean, both teams have a lot of firepower, and they're, it's a lot of fun to watch both these teams. And I think we're going to see, between a lot of talent between Javon McCann and Griffin Clowder. You got Dennis Flowers and Trent Hudgens going at it. A lot of points and a lot of talent.
Oh yeah, for sure. Wesley in that first round game, they had to sneak through there, right? I think we talked about that a little bit on the last show, the double OT, and they made it, and they found a way to win. And big shocker, Indiana Wesleyan's back in the round of 16, and another big shocker, Arizona Christian is, right. Two quality coaches, quality programs that seem to find their way there. And I'm sure both of them are chomping at the bit for that matchup. That could be one of those games that's in the hundreds, right? 105, 103, I could see, and high 90s, whatever it is. But super efficient, fun basketball, brand of basketball for both those teams.
I think the only thing that would stop this from being an 80, 90-point game is the Muni shooting percentage, but both these teams have experience in here, so I don't know that either one of them will struggle. So should be a high scoring. I think a track meet, maybe first team to 85 wins, Coach.
Yeah, that could be a good call. First team to 85. So, and I think there's another game. Talked about a little bit, but limiting turnovers, right? Neither of these two teams turn it over a ton, but when shooting percentages are going to be a little bit lower, likely, right? Not guaranteed, but likely. The ability to make sure you're getting quality shots every possession and not giving it to the other side is going to be really important. So shooting, rebounding, those possession stats are really going to drive some results here as well as we move through these games.
Yeah, and then finishing up with the last quadrant here, listening quadrant, we got defending national champs, College of Idaho and Madonna. Obviously, College of Idaho is trying to do what hasn't been done since 2006, 2007, when Oklahoma City won back-to-back national championships. The top four net efficiency. They've hit the most threes made by anybody in the field. They're led by a sophomore point guard and the Cascade Player of the Year, Samaje Morgan. And then you got a Madonna team who's new to Kansas City, and this is their first regular season title. It's that they had the highest ever national ranking in Madonna basketball, and then led by two really, really good players in Brendan Young and Isaac Anderson.
Yep. This one will be interesting to see. Again, we were just talking with Coach Stutz about being the first time through. When you go the first time, there's a lot of stuff that comes with getting to a tournament like this, right? All the travel, transportation, everything's new, everything's first time through. It's like a freshman year versus they're playing somebody that's kind of in their senior year, right? Or maybe even their grad year. College of Idaho who's been there. So it's but talented group. If you haven't seen Madonna play, you might want to think about it. They're a really, really talented team. So
talented group, and they should have a pretty good scouting report on the Yotes, as College of Idaho knocked off Indiana Tech last year in the national championship game, and they knocked off Cornerstone in the opening round games there. So I think that if the WAC coaches are talking, they should have a pretty good scouting report on the Yotes here.
Yeah. Well, oftentimes you see that, right? You're at this point, if somebody from your conference made it, you're usually rooting for them and trying to help each other be successful. So,
yeah, and moving on to this final game here, another one that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. You got Cumberland's team that's at 88 points per game. You got Morningside 87. You got the best 3-point shooting team in the field in Morningside, and again, Muni can change that in a hurry. But then out of the top 150 scorers in the country, Coach, we've got 11 remaining inside this field, and Morningside's got the top 2 scorers in Joey Scoff and Eli Doble. And I think that's going to be a fantastic duo around all those shooters around the perimeter to see if they can get going. And they're another team that's had success here inside Muni, or not success inside Muni, but have been here many times, and then facing off a Cumberland's team who's playing here for the first time. So,
yeah. Yeah, you got two first timers in this little quad, right? I mean, you got Madonna, you got Cumberland's, and Cumberland's had a great year. So did Morningside. Morningside's so difficult to guard. The way that they run their offense, it's really complicated to guard and guard well. You take one thing away, and then now they're hitting you with something else, and really fast moving. And Cumberland's is just consistent, solid team. Highly disciplined group, and they've been really fun to watch as well. And we had Coach on a couple weeks ago, and maybe even the tournament preview show, whatever it was. And these two teams. This is another one of my favorite matchups in the first round. I think this could be a wire to wire game for sure with the way that they match up style wise.
Yeah, and I think you're at a position here that Cumberland's at least had a week to prepare for them. I think that if you're maybe on the other side of the quadrant here with College of Idaho and Madonna, it makes it a little bit more difficult if you're facing Morningside off of a day of rest here, or 2 days rest, I guess it would be. But short scout either way, it's very hard to prepare for the Mustangs, and especially if they can find the rhythm to continue shooting the ball as well as they've been shooting.
Yep, I agree.
Well, Coach,
joining us on the Road to Muni podcast again inside historical municipal auditorium is Morningside head coach Trent Miller. Coach, welcome to the Road to Muni podcast. Like I said, officially in Kansas City. Congratulations on making it here.
Well, thank you guys, and again, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you guys do. This is great.
Yeah, a fun little journey for you guys. I know, Coach and I like to talk about how tough of a scout you guys are, which is some of your different screening angles and different stuff like that. But you guys are also one of the best three-point shooting teams. And then one thing we brought up on the podcast already is that one of the top 150 players scoring players in the country, only 11 of them made it to 16. And you have the top two with Eli.
Joey Scott.
Joey Scott.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Fun facts you learning here on a night in Muni.
We're not very big, so we better make some shots, right? That's good.
Well, and actually, the funny part is number 3 is actually very well too, and Van Kelsby. So 3 GPAC players.
He's a load.
Sitting atop the scoring leaders. Coach, I know you guys had a fun season. Obviously, the GPAC was a beast every night, and probably helped really a lot for what you're going to be facing over the next 2 days.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a ton of respect for the conference. Again, it's a gauntlet from top to bottom. Really good players, really good coaches, and we think that we talk with the other GPAC teams and coaches a lot about if you're fortunate enough to make it to the tournament, that regular season can help you prepare for maybe some of the stuff that you're going to see down here. And again, we're just very fortunate to make it here. We had a fun year, had some really high moments, had some moments where we weren't as sharp, but I thought recently our basketball has gotten better and better, and we're excited to be down here.
Yeah,
we got a fun little matchup here. One coach and I like a lot. 2 really good offenses and a lot of talent on the floor, and 2 teams that are definitely not afraid to put the ball in the hole.
I mean, Coach Daniels did such a nice job. Watching those guys, you're just going, man, they can score it so many different ways. They're so fast in transition. They got bigs that can hurt you on the perimeter. They got bigs that can demolish a rim if you're not guarding them. Just a team that we're gonna have to be very sharp against and have a ton of respect for what they've done and the Cumberlands have done all season.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about that matchup. I mean, what without getting too far in the scouting weeds, nobody's handing out trade secrets. We were just talking with some other coaches about that, but bringing your group here and getting ready for this game in the midst of all the chaos that is also travel and dinners and all that kind of stuff. Talk a little bit about staying focused on prep and what you got your guys, trying to pay attention to and keyed in on.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a battle when you pull into the city and all the lights are on. I mean, it's pretty sweet down here. And some of our young guys got big eyes right away. This is new for some of our young guys. But really, we're going to lean on our veteran group. We've got a number of guys that are juniors and seniors that have been fortunate enough to be here, a couple times in the last few years, and they know the drill. You got to be locked in. The basketball is so good, as you guys know. The margin for error is even smaller than it was to get here. So there's a balancing act. You want to enjoy it. It's really cool to represent, your university down here in Kansas City. But at the same time, we got a job to do, and Cumberland's is a tall task, and our guys know that's got to be the focus from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it probably helps a lot that 3 times in 4 years you've been here. You guys are a team that fans travel pretty well and usually get pretty loud inside Muni. So I know that having a fan base and with Muni getting loud in general, just being able to have a fan base, and I heard possibly a fan bus coming down, I think is what I heard.
There's some rumors going on. Mustang Nation's been really good to us. And, we have some incredible support, and we're looking forward to, representing them and playing in front of our family and friends. And we're fortunate enough to be just 4 hours north of here. So it's drivable, it's close enough, and hopefully it can be an advantage for us going throughout the tournament.
Yeah, and you also said that some of your guys have experience of playing in here, and we actually, looking through the field, there's several teams that have been here for 3 of the last 4 years since the merger. What's it mean not just for them to be back, but also I know that they have bigger dreams and goals of making it further than they have the last couple of years, and finally, maybe getting a Fab Four national title run here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a situation we've gotten bumped out of the Sweet 16 last 2 times we've been here in the last 3 years, and many of the guys on our roster now have been on the roster for those teams, and they're hungry. We want to take that next step. We know it's a tall order, but again, we're going to lean on that veteran experience. We're going to hopefully utilize that experience to play good basketball and hopefully advance.
Yeah, that's the name of the game is survive and advance this time of year. I know you guys.
Oh my goodness!
You guys have been playing a lot of playoff type games here. Like I said, throughout the GPAC, I know that it's not survive and advance but it feels like you're surviving sometimes in the GPAC with the Garland that schedule.
Absolutely.
I know you guys got 2 teams representing the field this year, but a lot of fun watching you guys play. Like I said, I watch from a coaching standpoint, former coaching standpoint, just watching you guys' actions is a lot of fun. And I'm just glad I don't have to scout you. I know Coach and I talk about that all the time. that we don't have to scouting reports together, so we're happy for that.
As a basketball fan, I'm just pumped to watch all these matchups. I know you guys got to be feeling the same way, but man, I tell people all the time, if you want to tune into high level basketball, check out this Sweet 16. Watch these teams go up against each other. We can't. We're so pumped to be a part of this, but just like selfishly as a basketball fan, this is such high level basketball, and these players are so elite. I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun for sure. And you got so many different, we talk about styles of play, right?
Yeah.
Different matchup. You have a fairly, I'll say you're in the same ballpark, right, as Cumberland's in terms of some of the things you do. But there's some that it's really polarized. Like these matchups are like, what the heck is this? How's that going to look? And whose style's going to win? And as you move through, it's really fun. And hopefully we get some quality games and you're playing in a big arena. And what a great moment for these kids. And you guys as coaches have done a great job getting your teams to this point.
Yeah, and the good part is he gets to be a fan tomorrow a little bit because they don't play until Friday. And Coach, we wish you guys the best of luck. And I know Mustang Country will be loud and proud inside. It's always fun to see you place.
Yeah. Well, guys, again, we can't thank you enough for what you do. Appreciate being on, and we're looking forward to competing.
Yeah, good luck, Coach.
Well, Coach, that'll wrap it up for our preview show. I know that we're in for 2 really, really good days of the opening rounds of round 16 or the round of 16, and then all the way through the national championship game. I think we got a field of 16 teams that are just so dang good. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch.
Yep, yeah, it's gonna be a thrilling few days, all the way through the title game. Hats off to every team that's made it, every program, university represented, the rest of the field of 64, and just the NAIA in general for putting on such a phenomenal tournament and a chance for us to partner with them. And anybody that doesn't know, Junior does all the heavy lifting for the Hoops Report here. So it's fun to partner with him and be able to support these student athletes and highlight the kids and the programs and the families, that are all represented here. It's really a privilege, I think, for both of us to be able to have a voice in that and find a way to support these programs. So.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, but definitely couldn't have done this without you. It's awesome having I know this will be our last one. We may do some stuff separate from the Road to Muni podcast with some coaches and stuff throughout the week, but this will be our last actual show. And it's been a great first year with you, Coach, and can't wait to see where we can take this program.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again to the NAIA for letting us partner, in particular with this venue. And as we move forward with some new ideas and creativity, we love their partnership and appreciate all they're doing.
Yeah, thank you to them. And thank you to all the fans and everybody that tunes in to all our shows, and the coaches for letting us interview them, and then of course all the SIDs and players and administrators and everybody else across NAIA, because without everybody else we don't have this. But we are gonna have some postseason stuff, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, this is Coach Leberton Jr. signing off.
We gonna